All right, what's up, everybody? Pastor Andrew here, Pastor Jeff's here. Real men wear pink.
They do.
They
do.
I think you're just trying to look like me because I almost wore my pink shirt today too.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody can pull it off. That's for sure. So what up? Hey, I want to ask you, do students say what up anymore?
Probably not. If I say it, you say it, they probably don't say it.
What do they say?
I have no idea.
Do they do the? I don't know.
Do y'all do that?
Hey guys.
I don't know. Hey guys, we're glad to see you here. Welcome to Ask Us Anything Part 2, where we're going to answer some more of your questions. I know that we shared this with the entire church, so there may be other people watching. So, but we are looking at the student questions. So I want you guys to start filling in. I've got it on my iPad right here, waiting for your questions to come in. So make sure y'all start asking some questions. Whatever it is, all we have is a Bible, a senior adult iPad, and my iPad. So we're good.
If you don't know what a senior adult iPad is, this is it. It's the big one. See, I was so proud of myself when I got an iPad, right? And then I realized I got the biggest one they make, and I thought, oh, that's a senior adult iPad.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll take it.
All right, so guys, while I'm waiting for some of you guys to ask some questions, and again, you can ask us anything. We are not prepared for anything. Yeah, we're not prepared for anything. We're going to do our best to go through it, though. So y'all start filling in some questions. I got one question, though, because I know that Pastor Jeff just sprinted up the stairs from a deacons meeting. Sure. So I don't know if any of our students out there even knew that we had deacons. What is a deacon, and what do y'all meet about? What is that?
Okay, well, deacons, and our deacon, first of all, we're not a deacon board, we're a deacon body, and so the deacons, I'll tell you what the deacons don't do around here. They don't run the church. They don't, make recommendations or anything. Our deacon body, first of all, they're men with qualifications, they're godly men. Right. They got spiritual qualifications, of faithfulness, of giving, of serving, and basically they do the physical aspects of the church. Okay. Where you and I are more or less in charge of the spiritual aspects of the church.
That's a scary thought.
That is a scary thought. But they do a lot of the physical aspects of the church, but mainly in the area of widows and widowers.
All right, that's
just like in the Bible.
If I remember correctly, deacon in the Bible is always servant, right? Deacon,
servant. Actually, the word diakon or diakonos literally means table waiter.
Table waiter.
Yeah. So that's what they do. They take care of the widows and the widowers, which we have a lot. Right? We have a good-sized church, so we have a lot of widows and widowers. Each deacon is assigned so many widows and widowers, so they contact them, they call, right? Especially during COVID, they've really been good about, you have any needs, what can we do, what can we help you with? If there's some real needs, then we'll try to meet those. I mean, like physical needs, right? If there's some real spiritual needs, then they'll kind of punt it over to me, and then I'll punt it over to you. Right. Then we'll just
I'm punting it over to
Jimmy. So anyway, but yeah, it's very biblical. What we do, it's not real attractive, like in some churches where deacons think they got to get in front of everybody. Right. Most of our deacons do teach. They teach Bible study class. They teach Sunday school class. So they do teach. Yeah. That's not a requirement, right? But they help take care of widows and widowers, and for some physical things around here that we need, we can call on some of them that are able. Our deacons are getting a little bit older. Which, by the way, we're starting, and you don't even know this yet, but we're starting.
You heard it first here.
We're starting what we call a yoke fellow ministry. So each deacon is going to find a younger guy, and start discipling him.
Oh, very cool. I like that.
So we started tonight getting that process going. They don't have to necessarily be younger in age, but younger in their walk with God.
Right. Yeah.
So they're going to do life with them one-on-one. If there's some hospital visits to make on their widows, I'll take them with them. Right. Anyway, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, that's good. So when you said young ministry, I thought automatically, are y'all going to be cooking eggs together?
No. Not that kind of yet.
All right. So anyway, so that's good. All right. So we've got a few questions on here. I want y'all to I don't want to scare us here, but ask some deeper questions that you may have too. But I want us to go down the list here. So the first one, I feel like we get this question a lot. What is our favorite dessert or food? I guess we look like people that like to eat.
Not you, I do.
Well, I'm
Okay.
working on it.
You really want to know this?
I do. They
Who
do.
asked that?
I look like Phoebe asked that question. She said favorite dessert, and then Ian asked a follow-up and said, what is your favorite? He said favorite food. So I don't know what that means, but we're going to assume food.
Okay, well, my favorite dessert, believe it or not, is birthday cake.
Birthday cake.
Yes. Vanilla cake with white ice. Birthday cake, like you get at Food Line. The real fattening icing that's made out of Crisco.
Yep.
That whole
Big
thing.
at one time, so no calories.
Listen, there will be times I will go to Food Line or I'll go to Walmart and I'll just have them make me up a birthday cake that says Happy Friday.
Wow.
And,
All right.
and I'll eat it.
Go to Pastor Jeff's house on Friday and you can eat birthday cake.
Birthday, well, it's not even Friday, obviously. It used to be.
Right.
I'm trying to, but anyway, I love birthday cake.
All right.
Of course, I'm a pastor, so you have to love banana pudding.
I guess
Because
so.
that goes along with your degree from seminary.
I guess so. Yeah. I think you're right. I think that's a good point. I would have to say that my favorite dessert is any kind of ice cream cake. That is a must-have every time. Only we get it once a year though, maybe twice, depending on if Brittany does it for her birthday. Which her birthday is coming up like literally next week, so ours are pretty close. Mine was last month, hers is this month. So we really, really like just ice cream cake and can't get enough of it. Like particularly from Cold Stone. Now I'm gonna flip that. My favorite food of all time: chicken wings, hands down.
For real?
Chicken wings. Doesn't matter where they're
meat
from.
on those. I don't care.
It's the joy of having it all over your face and on your fingers. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. For me,
It ain't like steak.
Well,
I had steak people out there put a heart on there, man. Give me some love. With steak and baked potato, people.
I'm sure there's.
I won't tell you what I think the best steak in Fayetteville is.
Right.
It's good.
Okay. Well, all right. So there you go. Well, all right. So I've got one person commenting that they are a part of state game.
Yes.
So there you go.
We'll form again.
Yeah. So that's Luke Dickerson that said that.
Yeah, Luke, you're the man.
All right. So let's see here. Favorite vegetable.
Ooh.
Is there one food? I don't know. I'm not a fan of vegetables. Probably lettuce because I eat a lot of salad. I'm a rabbit.
Maybe okay. When somebody, have you ever cooked asparagus on the grill?
I have, and it's pretty good.
That's good.
It is good. Right next to corn on the grill.
Corn on the grill.
Yeah, with some asparagus.
Your corn's vegetable.
I guess corn is one of those things that it doesn't really do anything. It has no nutritional value whatsoever. So there's that. All right. So let's move on here. What else we got? All right. Will I plank on a table again? I will, but I do not want to plank on this table because this table will break. So yeah, plank.
Is that planking?
Yeah, plank where you lay out. You remember that was like it was a big trend a while back. And so the other night I laid across the table that we use in the Family Life Center, and I just laid on it. Yeah, I did.
Did you hover?
I didn't hover because I almost fell off the stage, but that's a whole nother point. All right, so our next question, let's see, we're just gonna keep going down here, and these are good. Let's see. All right, how early do Brittany and I get to the church for Generate? Well, that's an interesting question because we're here as early as like 7:45 or 8 before the services start. So we stay here until probably about 1. Then we go home, we breathe for a second, and then we come back around 3. So we're usually there from 3 to whenever we're done. So whatever time that is. Sometimes
That's a long day.
9. That's a long day.
It's
a long day. So that's us. So we're there that early.
You guys work hard.
We do. We work hard.
Come on, give some love
They
to our
keep
student
us.
pastor.
They keep us.
We're supposed to say this.
Supposed to. Yeah, but that's not possible with a tiny webcam like I have here. There you go. All right. Represent. There you go. Okay, yeah. Okay, all right. Now, getting a little awkward, so I'm going to move on. What was your reaction when the whole quarantine started?
I bet it wasn't going to last.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought, okay, 2 weeks at the most.
Yeah.
That's it. I thought, surely. And then we got a report that, man, this thing could last almost to Easter. I went, no way. There is no way.
And
we're still
although we're back together, most people aren't.
Right.
But, or a lot of churches aren't, but we are. And so that's good.
That's good.
So,
It's climbing back a little. Yeah. So that's pretty good.
all right. So my reaction was the same thing. So I'm not going to go into that. Okay, I knew it was going to happen. So Betty Lynn is, she is a Revelation specialist. She asks all questions Revelation. She's going to get mad at me for calling her out. Okay, that's okay. I'm fine. All right, she said that Pastor Jeff, she said, we are getting ready to start our study on Revelation. So actually, we're still about a month away from that, Betty Lynn. So we got eternity first. We're starting eternity next week, and we're going to do eternity for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then we're going to Revelation. But we're going to start that. She says some of our B3 students are timid when it comes to this book of the Bible. Do you have any words of advice for students when it comes to studying a book like Revelation?
Yes.
Or any scary apocalyptic thing?
Always remember the title of the book is The Revelation of Jesus Christ. It's not the revelation of the Antichrist. It's not the revelation of 666. It's not the revelation of the beast. It's the revelation of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. So Jesus is all through the book of Revelation. So don't get sidetracked. Right. The book of Revelation is all about Jesus and how Jesus has already won the battle and won the war and won the cultural war.
Right.
So people get hung up on that. The title of the and what's the word revelation mean? It means an unveiling. So basically, the book of Revelation is an unveiling of Jesus Christ. So don't get sidetracked. It's not. Yeah. Listen, the thing about the book of Revelation is where you get into some prophecy and you get into things where God wants us to know, read a couple of verses on down and he'll tell you. If he doesn't tell us, we weren't meant to know. Right. It's not that important. Yeah. So when you get into some of these, 666 or more, whatever, where God wants us to know the interpretation, he gives us the interpretation in the book of Revelation. If he doesn't give the interpretation, it's don't sweat it.
Right. Yeah, and I think
that makes sense, maybe.
I think it does. I thought it made sense. We don't know because they won't type until 30 seconds after they see it because there's a delay. So the way that I look at that is, just to throw my 2 cents in there, is I think we get caught up in the scary images and all that kind of stuff. And I think and just to recap what you said, it's all about the glory of what is to come. Like for believers, for unbelievers, that needs to be the scariest book on the planet. For believers, that is one of the best books to read in the Bible because it gives us a picture of how it unfolds, and some of that is dramatic in how it's told, and we don't really know how it's going to play out. We know that John used the best images that he could at that time to show it. So those events are going to happen. But I always tell the students, if the trumpet blast is going to be like a text message or something, I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway,
but here's the good thing about the book of Revelation is that it's meant to be encouraging, not discouraging.
Yeah.
Because it was written to the church under extreme persecution. Mm-hmm. Well, we haven't known that in this country until now, or until we started now. So it was written to people that said, man, get us out of this mess. I don't know about you guys, but the more we're in this mess, the more the fact that Jesus is coming again and setting everything right and straight, I look forward to that. Yeah. I'm not afraid of that. And you shouldn't be afraid of it as a believer. But you're right. As a non-believer, be afraid. Be very afraid.
That's good. And that's going to be a fun study. So y'all look out for that because that'll be there. We'll stream it. If you can't be there or whatever, we'll post the videos on here later for those of you that are going to see this video 30 years from now. It will be there on YouTube unless YouTube breaks and Google goes down, and if that happens, we're all in trouble.
What will we look like 30 years from now?
I don't know what you'll look like 30 years from now.
I will look dead.
I don't know
how you're gonna look.
I'm hoping for me 30 years from now.
You're gonna look like this? I don't look like this?
I don't know. If I do, that means I'm healthy. That's all I'm saying. I ate good steak.
That was good.
So there's that. All right.
That's good. Yes, right. You ever get steak and birthday cake.
Oh man. All right. So somebody asked a question. They said, what's your favorite type of meat? I think we kind of answered that. He said steak. I said chicken. So I'm going to roll on from that.
Okay.
What is your favorite book of the Bible and why is it not Revelation?
That's a good question.
So if it's not Revelation,
You
what
will.
is it?
I'll tell you mine. You tell me yours.
All right. I guess I'll go first. My favorite book, and somebody else asked another question right here too about that, kind of what's your favorite book of the Bible. So we'll kind of lump those two together. I think my favorite book of the Bible, I think because there's some Old Testament books that I really like, and there's also some New Testament, so and it's hard. I think for me, probably my favorite book of the Bible is probably the book of Ephesians. I love the book of Ephesians, and that's a close call between obviously one of the Gospels. That's a natural thing to pick, but that whole idea of Ephesians and Paul writing to that church and strengthening that church and talking about the spiritual warfare. The Church of Ephesus is one of those churches to really look to and model. So I think for me that will be it. And it's not Revelation because I'll be honest with you, because Revelation is a very hard book to read. And it's a very hard book to understand because it's apocalyptic literature, and that's hard. That's why there's so many different interpretations on Revelation that many people that study the Bible have, because we just don't know. We know how it plays out. We know the facts, but we just don't know how a lot of that looks. So for me, I like the book of Revelation. I've never really done an in-depth study until what we're about to do. But I would say for now, probably the book of Ephesians. A close second to that would be the book of James. I love the book.
Yeah. Book of James is what is it called? Sermons and shoe leather. Practical. My favorite book in the Bible, in the whole Bible, is the book of Philippians. Philippians has more about joy. It has all of these things about. It's such a positive, encouraging book. And then when you think that Paul wrote that while he was in prison, right? It's an amazing, amazing book. Yeah. To me, it's because it's a tremendous book between a pastor and people, and how much a pastor loves his people, and how much the people love the pastor. Right. The Philippian believers loved Paul, and then when you know the background of how that church got started, the miracle. Paul and Silas in jail anyway. So Philippians, I love it. As a matter of fact, when we do verse by verse Bibles, series, I have to really make sure I stray away from Philippians because we keep running back to it. We keep coming back to it.
All right, there you go. So if we do Philippians, if that ever happens in the near future, I know we're not in the near future, but if we ever do. It's the man's favorite book, so there you go.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's good. So I've already answered mine, so we'll move on to the next one. This is a good question. Really good question. What do you think is the most important book of the Bible, like to read and know? What's the most important book of the Bible to read and know, in your opinion?
Wow, who asked that?
Sarah Beth Dickerson. It had to be Dickerson. That's all right. Good question.
To be honest with you, I think the most important book in the Bible, it depends, but if you want a foundation, it's got to be the book of Genesis. You think about it. Everything we need to know about the Bible is laid, the groundwork is laid in the first 11 chapters of the book of Genesis. God created man fell, redemption's been announced. So the book of Genesis is absolutely vital.
I would agree with that because literally, I'm not saying that because he said that. I literally had the same thought. I love the book of Genesis, and I think that was one of those Old Testament books that I almost threw out because it paints an entire picture of the gospel, the pointing to the fulfillment, and then what is to come. And so you see that you see family dynamics there. There's a lot of structures on laying, like you said, that foundation of what it means to be a follower and understanding the creation account and all those things. So I think I would agree with that. I think, second to that, obviously, I think any of the four Gospels, I think outside of that would be good to the life of Jesus. I think a lot of people point to, if I'm not mistaken, to the book of Mark. It's either Mark or John that they say to read if you're like a new believer. Read that first to understand that. But I think you're right. I think the foundation that's laid in Genesis is equally as because I mean, it points to that. You can eventually get there. I think we, just on a side note, I think that in a lot of churches now, we tend to write off that Old Testament. And we tend to, and this is what I've enjoyed about the Minor Prophet series that we just went through. And I know
Did y'all enjoy that?
I mean, I thought it was good. I mean, but we're kind of biased. We talked through it. But I think that really what you learn is there's still so much value in the Old Testament. There's so much rich theology. There's so much that points to the new. And I think so many churches and people teach now, they only stay in the New Testament if the Old Testament doesn't exist. And so, I would encourage y'all, like, whip out that Old Testament every now and then, dust off those pages, read Genesis, read Exodus. I love Exodus too. Exodus.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff going on there. Even the back half of Numbers, when you get past all the numbers, and there's some good stuff in there.
Well, here's the thing.
Anyways,
Everything, if you can't get beyond the first book, the first chapter, and the first verse of the first chapter, if you don't wrap your arms around, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, then nothing else in the Bible is going to mean anything.
especially in today's culture.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, they're all awesome. They're all inspired by God. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Next one, favorite Bible verse.
Well, once again, Philippians. I can do all things. Philippians. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I didn't say I can do all things.
Right.
I said I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yeah, I think for me, and this is going to be of no surprise to y'all whatsoever, but there's a little phrase called the Great Commission passage. Jesus commands them, say, go therefore, make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That Matthew 28 verses 18 through 19 there, so good to me. Yeah, I think, because that's that final charge. Jesus said, hey, go do that. He said, you go tell people about Jesus, but after you tell them about him, then you got to disciple them and train them up so they can go do the same thing. So and y'all, I'm sure y'all probably knew that was coming. So there's that. All right, so let's see. All right, some people are just chatting in here. Minor Prophet shout outs. We got some love for the Minor Prophet.
Thanks for the Minor Prophet stuff. That was not
this is
an easy series to preach.
What is the most amount of push-ups you can remember doing?
Well, okay. It's not to say I didn't do a lot of push-ups. I just keep remembering. It's like, okay, because I'm old. I could do, when I was in high school, I could do 100.
Yeah, I remember.
I could do 100.
Not recently, but I used to could get to 100, and because I would do right. And mine was a few years ago, but I used to do 100 push-ups a day, 100 squats, like standing squats, but a lot of that was because I umpired baseball. And on the side, I did basketball, so I always had to keep my legs in shape and that kind of thing. So I think 100. I think it's a good number. I probably couldn't do that now.
I can do
maybe 10.
No, I can do
a half.
Well, now, if it's the kind you get on your knees and do, I can do 5.
Yeah, there you go.
If you know the kind you get on.
I know. Yeah, the half. They call it.
Now, did I ever do the arm behind the back and whatnot?
No, or the diamond.
It wasn't special. No. Special forces.
No, we don't do that. There's a reason why we're in ministry. We're not in the military. We let other men do that who are called to do that. All right. So there's that.
That's true.
So here's another interesting question, and this was kind of for me, so I'll answer it. It says, why did you decide to be a youth pastor instead of a regular pastor that preaches to everyone like Pastor Jeff does? Well, I think that's an interesting question. Well, number one, I didn't decide to do it. So I was not looking to go into any form of really pastoral ministry because I grew up in a context that really kind of turned me off from churches from a standpoint of just seeing how, pastors failing morally and, just people in the church always fighting each other because somebody didn't turn the lights off at the right time or something. Anyways, weird stuff. So I was kind of looking more to I just want to go tell people about Jesus. And so I was like, okay, go overseas maybe, or work as a missionary or something like that. Of course, that's all tied into the church, so you weren't going to get away from that completely. So I honestly did not have youth ministry on my radar until he called me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about this?" And I said, "No, and I don't want to." And so then he was like, "Well, at least just meet with me and let's talk about it." I was like, "Okay." So then we met up at Cracker Barrel, and then I just prayed through it. Because he was like, "Would you at least pray about it?" And I'm like, "Okay, we'll pray about it." And so that's when we ended up here. And so really, youth ministry wasn't a thing for me. Although I feel like between Brittany and I, we do it fairly well, I think.
Yeah.
So so that's been good. But on the back end of that question, I do preach a lot. I preach. We go through stuff with y'all. I mean, twice a week on Wednesday. It's not really preaching on Wednesday, but Sunday nights kind of preaching. And Pastor Jeff lets me go up there, and when he's out of town or when he has something he wants me to talk about, I'll do that. So I still have that. So I mean, it's kind of the best of both worlds.
I think what we have to understand is with you and me and Pastor Jim and Danny and is that God called us to Himself first, and then my loyalty is to my calling was to Jesus, to step out on faith, to just serve Him full time. Now, I've been everything in the church. I started out as a custodian. I was a horrible custodian. The only reason they didn't fire me is because they liked me. Right. Then I was a youth pastor. I was an associate pastor. I was a minister of music like Pastor Danny and youth pastor at the same time. I was an associate pastor. I was an evangelist, full-time evangelist. And then, but during all of that, I felt like God was just calling me to Himself. Right. So I was willing to, whatever God wanted me, He just happened to give me a hunger for being a pastor. But that didn't happen until much later.
Right. And that's important. You guys remember a couple of weeks ago, we talked about that. We talked about God's calling, and we talked about the fact that God calls us to Himself. Right. And then it's from there when you start to discern giftedness, and then maybe doors that open up and things like that. And so that's kind of where I'm at, because people will ask me all the time. They'll say, "Well, how long are you going to stay in youth ministry and then step up into another pastoral position?" I'm like, "Whoa, that's not at all how that works.
It doesn't work that way.
It's not a ladder that you climb." Like, I know his story kind of sounded that way, but it's not a ladder that you climb. It's whatever door God opens and God says to go do it. That's what I do, and that's essentially what got us here in student ministry and doing what we do with you guys. Brittany and I were like, God's opened this door, and Aaron Lake was gracious enough to say, "Hey, we want you to come here and do that." And so we're doing it. Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. That's a good question. That was a really good question. All right, let's see. Let's move on. So, this is another one for me. I'll ask you, though, from your days of back in the day from being a youth pastor for a little bit of time there, what is the best and worst part of being a youth pastor?
Youth. No. Okay.
Ouch.
I'm playing.
I just shots fired.
I am playing. I don't know. I guess just feeling like, well, first of all, it's okay. It's connecting with students. There's nothing like it. Even to this day, if I connect with you guys, I love it. And you guys are very, very encouraging to me. So there's nothing like connecting with young people, with students. I love it. And then on the same vein, then not being able to connect with certain students because they won't let you in. Right. So you guys can be very fickle. You can be very loving, and you can be very standoffish. And so when you're loving, there's nothing like it. But when you are standoffish or you get moody, it breaks our heart. So that up and down that teenagers have a tendency to put you on this roller coaster because they're on a roller coaster, because I know your hormones are going wild. I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah, I would agree with that as being the hardest part. I know for me, like there's some students that we have, and some of you may be watching this even, and I'll say it. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to reach through, knowing that you're praying for that person, you're pouring out everything you have into that person, and that person just doesn't receive you. And the same thing happens too with even, I'm sure, on the adult side of ministry, where you're pouring into people and you're trying to love people, and no matter what you do, like, they're not going to like you, so it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but it's just right. No matter what you do, it's not going to make a difference. And so, and we see that, and so I would say, yeah, that's very hard. And I know for me, some of that stuff keeps me up at night, because I'm praying like, God, what can we do? What can we do to help, show this person that we care? And so my prayer then becomes, God, just let something that I say encourage them at some point in their life. And if that's the case, then that's enough. Then that's because God doesn't call us to be liked by everybody. Number one, and see, He calls us to do the work and equip people for ministry. And so that's what we're doing. And it's one thing to be mad at you for doing something wrong. It's another for somebody to just write you off and you try to please them. So I'm not a people pleaser. I can't bend over backwards. So that's a hard thing.
Student ministry will keep you on an emotional roller coaster. I mean, it really will, because you pour your life into them, and you see them getting it, and they're really into it, and then we've seen this so many times. Then they move on in life, and then they just drop it. Yeah, and that breaks your heart. And I honestly, I do not get excited about when we have senior graduation. Yeah, because you never know. You never know. Now, for some of them, they just go on, and I'm not trying to discourage anybody, but they just go on. They just really amount to something for the Lord and their family life, their work. We see a lot of that. But then we see those that, man, they were leaders in the student ministry. They were here. Then they get out, into the world, and the world gets into them. Yeah, that breaks your heart. I think shifting gears, the best part about it is, let's see, we already said the worst. I think the best part about it is seeing you guys when you start after that foundation is laid. And this is kind of be on the spiritual aspect as well, because I could always say that the food is the best part about it, because you do get a lot of food in student ministry. But I think for me, seeing you guys grow, like some of y'all that we've seen since, because we've been here 3 years now, so some of you were coming into the student ministry, you were either a freshman or most of you were freshmen, at least on the high school side, and then some of y'all were in 6th grade coming up. So we're able to see y'all, those of you that were in 6th grade are now going into 8th or whatever. But to see y'all go from where you were to where you're at now, like Brittany and I have been blown away at just some of the spiritual maturity that we've seen take part in you guys. And while we know that that's God working in your life, we're just kind of supplemental to that. That's my big joy to see that. But then on the flip side of that, I've also seen students that we poured into that's shown so much spiritual maturity. And then this gets into that worst part, and they just completely fall off. But with your and Brittany's philosophy, you are trying your dead level best to close that back door, so that we see less. And I really believe with all my heart, we're going to see less if our students will stick with you and stick with us through these student years. I think we'll see less and less of that back door. I think we'll close that back door. Not for everybody, but more and more, because you get it. Yeah, y'all really get it. Well, that's the difference between where we talk about disciple making and I know y'all get tired of me saying this. Like I know some of y'all, whenever I preach on Sunday mornings, I hear y'all say, we're going to talk about discipling. Well, yeah, because it all boils down to that. Like, we have to get that right. Like if we get, and it's not to say that you get so boiled down in all the theology and stuff that you don't go out. No, but if you're a true disciple of Christ, if you get the foundations, which is what we're trying to lay for y'all, then you can go out and tell people about Jesus. You can go out and train up somebody else to be a follower. So I hope that's the case. I think too often what we see in student ministry now is this let's come see mentality, come hang out, eat some pizza, hear a devotion, and then we send you on about your way. Well, that doesn't help anybody. I mean, yeah, that's a good way to consume some of your time, but there's not a lot of depth to that. So we're trying to go a little bit deeper. Yeah. This generation, your generation, guys, of students, once again, it's just imperative that you get grounded more than any other generation of students that's ever been raised in America. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
And that's why this guy and his sweet wife are pouring themselves into that. So I know you appreciate it, but make sure you tell him and Brittany how much you appreciate it. Please.
All
You
right.
didn't pay me for that.
I did not. No, I'm
You
like,
didn't know I was gonna say
how do I transition from that? Like, that was really good, so I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna transition. Because I don't want it to get all gooey in here. It's getting a little sappy. All right. So anyway, but that was really cool. That was good. Very encouraging. Now here's another one. What is something that all the students do that annoys you? What is something that all the students do that annoys you? Man.
Come in moody.
Yeah.
Come into worship moody. Now, listen, I don't think I'm that moody. I don't think anybody can tell what mood I'm in when I come to church.
Just come in smiling.
But when you come in, like,
Yeah, man.
you know, I just want just quit coming in moody.
Yeah, I think on the flip side of that, those of y'all that sometimes walk right by us.
Yeah.
As if we know, and that goes along with that moodiness.
It's the moody.
You walk right by us like we have never met before, which you shouldn't do that to anybody, by the way. Be nice to people, smile, wave, but like they'll just boom, like not give you the time to be. I'm just like, we'll see you
There's some
tonight.
of you, we're going, hello, hello, hey, you know, and you just, okay.
Oh man. Anyway, I think that's it.
Yes,
That's
be
it.
moody. No, do not.
Yeah,
Thou shalt not
don't
be
be moody.
moody. That's the 11th commandment.
Yeah, I think so.
I just formed.
We just canonize that right here. That's
It's just some stone.
all right. Let's see. Favorite worship band. Do you have a favorite worship band? I know you listen to a lot of Christian music, but do you have a
I'm
favorite?
telling you, man. I know you're not gonna believe this, but I'm just telling you, man. I guess it's because I know our worship band. I'm serious, man.
They're good.
You know, of course, Casting Crowns. I love. I mean, that make actually, Toby. I love Toby Mac, man.
Yeah.
And he may be out of date now, but
No, he's still kicking.
is he?
Yeah, he's still going.
You know, I like Toby Mac. But honestly, Jason, when Jason's up there with our bands are awesome. Come on, guys, I'm telling you, they're good.
They are. Hey, I'm going to venture outside of the B3 church bubble, and I'm going to go with Shane and Shane. If you haven't listened to Shane and Shane, they've been around for a long time. They're not as popular. You don't hear them along the radio, but their worship music, it's like they take the old hymns and they update them. And they do a thing called Worship Collective, where they'll do like those songs at Passion or even Casting Crowns. Some of the other ones do. Man, they're good. They're phenomenal. And I saw Natalie like them too. Yeah, they're really good.
I like praise and worship stuff. I feed out on that. So of course I like Hillsong stuff. You know, Elevation. Right. We've been to Elevation. I know. I met Stephen Verdi before he was Stephen Verdi, and so I like Elevation.
It was just a guy in the room.
But now, if you go to Elevation Worship Center, they jam for the Lamb.
Yeah, they jam for
They
jam for the Lamb. That's awesome. That's good. All right, that's y'all need to tweet that one later. That was good. All right, so let's see. What's another one here? Okay, so Ted has an interesting question that I'm going to give to you.
Thanks, Ted.
Because I'm not sure what it means, but maybe you do. He says we're actually gonna talk about this in our heaven. So eternity, we're gonna cover the reality of eternity, number one, the reality of hell and the reality of heaven. So we're gonna talk about some of this stuff, especially like when we die, what happens, that kind of thing. So Ted said this, he says, if we go to heaven immediately, so this is assuming we go to heaven immediately when we die, because there's some different views on that. So I'm gonna say, so he said, if we go to heaven immediately when we die, like Jesus, like Jesus and the thief on the cross said, I'll see you in paradise. Right. Or today you'll be with me in paradise. He said, what does it mean to be asleep in Christ? Have you ever heard that?
That is just a term of endearment.
Okay.
of a description that a believer doesn't die, that a believer, it's like David said, David will walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Right.
Well, when Paul says those who are asleep, he doesn't mean they're not in heaven.
Right.
He just means that they didn't experience the fear of death. All they did was just fall asleep. And so it's a term of endearment. It has nothing to do with whether you didn't immediately go to heaven or immediately be in heaven. The Bible plainly says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Right. So when Paul talks about those that sleep, he meant it's a term of endearment. We didn't experience the fear of death, right, or the pains of death. Okay. We just died. And we
Yeah, there you go. Just take a nap.
Takes the fear out of death.
And then you're in heaven. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
All right. Well,
Makes sense.
I'm not going to, I'm sure, I'm not going with that one because that's why I sent that one to you.
Yeah, that was your pay grade right there.
All right. So hopefully yes, Ted said awesome answer. He appreciated that. So that's,
You're welcome, brother. Good question.
All right. So let's see here. Okay. Now they're just talking about that question because everybody was confused. That's all right. So let's see. No, that's not it. That's okay. What's your wife's favorite flower?
My wife didn't really like flowers.
Yeah, Brittany doesn't either.
Now
Now we have flowers at home.
Right, we had flowers. She like plants flowers, but if I want to celebrate something or I want to show her affection, I don't bring home flowers, man. I bring home a gift.
That's what I said.
I don't bring it.
That's right.
She's not all about flowers.
We're going to Outback today. Let's go.
My wife would say, "Why don't you bring me something that's gonna be dead in 3 days? Get me something I can use."
That's right. Give me
So
the food.
So she didn't have it. I'll tell you what her most unfavorite flower is, and that's lilies. Because she thinks they smell like funeral homes. Which they do,
because that's mainly what you see.
So yeah.
We're around funeral homes often. We would know, unfortunately. So yeah, that's interesting. So let's see. All right, we got a couple. So favorite flower. Yeah, Brittany doesn't really have one that I know of. I know we've got some wildflowers that she grows at home. We've got I think it's called a Transcentenaria flower. We have I don't know. We got a couple ferns. I don't know. I don't even know if she's watching right now. Brittany's taking the night off to get some schoolwork done. I don't know if she's even on here or not. She's not in the chat, so I'm not sure. So she's probably gonna, if she's watching, she's gonna pick on me when I get home because I'm screwing these names up. We've got Gerberas, we've got certain things. So Brittany has a green thumb.
You know these flowers' names?
Only because she names them by their actual name, so we know where they are. But we've got something. We've got a ponytail palm, which is pretty cool, where it's like this palm tree that just looks like a palm, like a ponytail. So we've got flowers and plants and stuff like that. But as far as a favorite one, I don't really think she has a favorite. So she'd rather like, let's get a gift card and let's go.
Yeah.
Because flowers don't fill your stomach. Just saying.
Well, flowers. I mean, I'm giving her something that's already dead. They just don't.
If
know
it's
it yet.
cut, yeah.
They just don't know it yet.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So let's see. We'll take a few more here. Do you still listen to secular music at all?
Yes. Are you kidding me? Of course.
No, we live in the Christian bubble.
For me, will you ever outgrow the Beatles or the Eagles or Journey?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, come on, man. You know, I know. Do I listen to the day's top 40?
Yeah.
No, not really.
It's because you can't understand it because every word is bleeped out.
It's a generational thing, but yes, I listen to KML. I listen to KML. I like some good country. I like country ballads. I think they're very cool. I like country songs because a lot of them tell a story. I love that.
Yeah, about dogs.
Jesus ate the wheel, whatever.
The dog ate the homework.
The
The
dog,
wife.
yeah. But man, every Eagle song, every Beatle, I mean, come on, best secular song ever wrote was Yesterday by Paul McCartney. The song,
okay, yeah.
Not,
Got it. Okay.
You probably.
I don't know. I wasn't a big Paul McCartney or Beatles
I
or
know
Wings. I know part of what Paul McCartney and Wings. I love the Eagles though. I love Fleetwood Mac. If we're going to talk about back in the day music. Me personally, I listen to country music when I'm not listening to Christian music typically, but a lot of times I grew up because my dad in particular, big 70s and 80s guy, so we listened to a lot of that growing up. So I'm more leaning to that.
Exactly.
Brittany can't stand it, so
Really?
I have to wait till she falls asleep in the car, and then I turn it on, but it has to be low because if she hears it, she's gonna wake up. She's gonna be like, "Turn that off." I don't want to hear it.
Country music?
No, the 70s and 80s.
Oh my
classic
goodness,
rock.
Brittany.
So
You
anyway.
gotta educate them.
Yeah, well, there's nothing you can do. So there's that. Let's see here. Let's look at another one. Favorite music. We hit that one. What is your favorite? Wow, Phoebe, why are you asking all these questions about food? Like we got another. It's about that time. It's 7 o'clock. I'm just
She's
kidding.
so slim.
She said, "What is your
Why
favorite?"
this Phoebe do you eat?
She said, "Food combination that
I've never
people
seen
think
Phoebe eat.
So favorite food combination that people think is weird. Mine is ranch with everything. I put
Really?
ranch on everything. Earlier today, we got pasta at home, spaghetti sauce and that kind of thing. I put ranch on top of that.
Good stuff. That's gross.
I mean,
I'm
I
not,
like
I
ranch.
want to bog you down with it in theological terms, but that's what they call in the Greek rosa.
Roasted.
Or in the King James. King James said that. That's stinker.
That's stinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, coming out, I like peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
Those are good.
They're good.
I agree with that. I want some honey on there too.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Favorite type of chocolate?
Ooh, milk chocolate.
Milk chocolate. I think my favorite brand,
Not dark chocolate.
Milka chocolate
Oh, yeah.
from Europe.
Ooh.
It's European.
Yeah.
You can't find it over here except for the World Market, which is not far from us, but you got to take out a long
What
way
is
to
that?
go in there.
European chocolate is not near sweet.
Yeah, no, it's just you just rejoice on the chocolate.
That's it. Any
All right.
chocolate. Milk chocolate. What don't do dark chocolate?
What was your most embarrassing moment during your ministry?
Ooh, good one.
I don't even. Yeah, I was trying to think of that.
We when I was at another church in town, it was very transit because it was high military, a lot of military, and one of our just a good faithful church member left. They got orders to Italy or Germany, and so they were gone for about 3 years. So I get up to preach one Sunday, and he's sitting back there in the back, and I said, "Bill, it is so, brother, it's so good to see you back. Stand up." And he wouldn't stand up. I said, "Somebody stand him up." It wasn't him. It was not. It could have been a carbon copy of him, but it wasn't him. Embarrassed the fool out of him and me.
That's
So,
funny.
I've had more embarrassing
Yeah,
moments.
I don't know if I've really had anything quite like that. I know I've tripped going up onto a stage before. That was a little weird. Outside of that, I don't know. I don't know if I've been in it long enough to really have a good embarrassing story. Yeah. I've seen a lot of stuff though. They're like pastors accidentally letting their tongue slip and saying something.
I try to really, I try to be
That's
really
why
careful.
try not to. That's why I have my notes close by, so I'm not.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's that. So I'm gonna leave it at that. When you were in high school, what was your most embarrassing moment?
Oh, man.
Wow.
Embarrassing moment in high school. Okay. Am I going to get in trouble for this? When I pooped my pants?
Oh. Wow.
I did.
In high school.
Yes, in high school.
Wow.
I mean, it's a natural function, and I was a little sick on my stomach. And when you gotta go, and you raise your hand.
It's a natural function.
Yeah, you just couldn't get up and walk out of a class. I don't know what they do now.
Oh, good.
But I wasn't homeschooled, and so I had to go, man. And I raised my hand and said, whatever, I need to go to the bathroom. They said, just hang on a minute, I'll get you a hall pass. Well, by the time I got the hall pass, by the time I got in the hall,
That was it.
there she went. Is that
That's all right.
Okay,
Sure.
so I pooped my pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I went down to the gym and I took them off and threw them in the trash can. So then when we had gym later on that afternoon, they were in the trash can, and everybody was going, "Whoa, whoa, what smells so bad?" And I said, "I don't know, man. Somebody messed up. It was me."
That's awesome.
That's an embarrassing moment.
I had a.
Hey, do they? What stays on Ask Us Anything?
Stays, right, except for in the world of YouTube.
You're not telling your parents.
So I'm going to tell a similar story.
Okay.
This must be a trend. Pastors must do this, pooping of pants. Now, mine did not happen in high school. I had just graduated. I was off at doing my internship for my golf stuff that I was doing. And so I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh, in a small town called Salzburg, which was a boarding school that we had kids come from all over the world and get golf lessons and stuff for the summer. So we were doing our staff bonding type thing, which basically meant that we got together and we played a captain's choice or best ball tournament and just played against the staff. Yeah, that's a golf. We were out there on the golf course. And the golf course is a private golf course, so it's not like something you would see at Gatesmore or down the road at any course you go. There was the boarding school, which was in a gated area, and then the golf course was on the property. It was a little 9-hole golf course, and that's where we did all of our stuff. Well, we're out playing this tournament together, and it was just like me and 3 other people against a couple of other groups that had like 4 people in it. So it was only 12 of us out there. And I had to go, and we were on the most far end section of the place. And these are all people that are now we're friends, or we still communicate. And so and so we're all out there hanging out. I had just met them. This was literally the first day we were there. First day, meet these people. We're on the golf course. I'm walking. I'm carrying my bag, and it hits me. And it's like go time. And so I'm like, hey y'all, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I started to walk back, and I told myself, I'm out. I'm withdrawing from this. I gotta go. And so I'm wearing white pants, white golf shorts, white golf shorts.
Oh,
and so
man.
as I'm wearing these, I'm walking, and I've got like, and y'all know what I'm talking about. Like I've got like the very tight walk going, as if I'm walking across a tightrope. Cause I mean, my stomach is killing me. I don't know what I ate, but it wasn't prairie dogging because it was about to get swampy. It was bad. So anyway, I realized that I'm not going to make it, and so I detour into the woods, just like any other person would do. If you're on a golf course, this is not uncommon. So I go into the woods. I just pull them down. I find a tree and I squat to it, and I thought I did well, and then I realized that it all got all over my white golf pants. So it's all over my pants, all over my white golf pants, and so now I have a golf towel that is no longer a golf towel, and it has probably been sent into a trash island somewhere far away. And I had to use that to clean things with. And so I'm walking with what is now the color of this pants, and I'm carrying my golf bag so people don't see it. And everybody's trying to talk to me on the way back. Hey man, what are you doing? What's going on? Hey, gotta go to the bathroom, guys. I'm heading out. And I'm like just like cringing and walking. So anyway, that's my most embarrassing moment that I have ever had in my life. Now, nobody knew it. So I did a good job of hiding it, but like you, I threw the stuff away in the trash can, in the dorm where everybody was. So the aroma was nice and smelling in there. I'm like, yes, that's stink in here. That's weird. You smell weird. Hey,
Welcome to this episode of More Than You Asked.
That's right. That's right. So that's the most embarrassing moment. So we're going to shift gears from that. Kelly, who y'all remember Darren, Darren's moved to Tennessee. And so he's had been talking to this girl at school, and this is what Kelly said. So she got a question to kind of see what we would come up with here. She said, so Darren has been talking to this girl at school, and she recently asked him, if you sin and you are not a good person, and God knows that, why would he ever accept you?
Because he loves you. Yeah. This is the only reason that God saves us. We're all sinners. But read the book of Romans chapter 3, and there's none good, we are sinners. So the only reason, we have nothing to offer to God because we're sinners. So the only reason that Jesus would forgive us, the only reason he would save us, the only reason he would give us a home in heaven is only one reason, and that is his love
Absolutely.
to us.
Yeah, that's
That's the
actually
only explanation. He just flat out loves you.
I've often heard the Bible referred to as the greatest love story ever told.
That's right.
And remember, while Jesus is a huge part of it, and that's what kind of brings it all full circle, within that, it is still the mission of God to bring his people back to him. And he does that through the sacrifice of Christ, which is what we see. And that's why the gospel is so significant. But it's God is after his people. He loves his people. He pursued his people. And that's why Jesus died for us, because something had to cover that wickedness.
Yeah. Don't ever get into the trap that you think you have to do something to earn God's love. And the reason why you already have it.
Right.
You don't have to do anything to deserve it. So that's why a lot of people say, well, if we sin, then why would he save us? Well, basically what you're saying is that, I have to stop sinning, or I have to do something to earn his love. You don't ever have to do that because you already have it.
Yep. Absolutely.
And that's why the gospel is called good news.
Yeah.
Because that is good news.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the follow-up question was this. She asked him, I'm assuming this, she followed up with this. She said, why do you believe if you know that, okay, hold on. I'm going to have to rethink this. Why do you believe if you know there might not, if you know that it might not be true? And so he said he couldn't really answer that. So he said all he said was it's better than not believing. So he's basically saying, why would the person asked, why would you believe in this if there's a chance that it may not be true?
Because if I thought it was a chance it might not be true, I wouldn't believe it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's called faith. If I thought there was even a ghost of a chance that it wouldn't be true, then it wouldn't be worth accepting. But 1 Timothy says this is a faithful saying and worthy of all acceptance that Jesus Christ came to save sinners. So, do we doubt sometimes? Yeah, we all do. But the bottom line is, it's either you have to come to grips. What I believe, I don't get from my opinion. Right. I don't even get from the church. I don't get from being a Baptist. I don't get from being a preacher. What I believe comes from God's word. So I'm putting my faith and trust that the one thing that God cannot do is lie.
Yeah.
And he's not going to lie to me. He's not going to lie to you ever. He cannot lie. It's not in his nature to lie. So he says, he that believes on the Son has everlasting life.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing about, in grace alone and Christ alone. And you hear that, and so it is that freedom that's in that. But for me, and the faith part is that you're right, that's absolutely faith. I mean, that is faith. We are putting all of our eggs in this, and for me, the way that I would look at it, and I wouldn't do this in a very complex way, but I know, Darren, you would understand what I'm saying here. Too much of what this is why I love the Old Testament, because the Old Testament gives me the ability to say, like you said, God can't lie. All this stuff happened way back in the day, and it's come true here. All the stuff like in Isaiah and all the things that the prophecies that were given, and some of the stuff you even see in the book of Daniel that points to, and in other areas that point to the coming of Christ, that's all there. And then there's historical evidence that supports the fact that it happened. So therefore, why would I not believe that? There's too much to me that lines up, like 2 + 2 = 4. And that's what I continue to see throughout the scriptures. And I know that that's a hard one to explain, especially to somebody that's lost, because they're just like, well, those are old writings and stuff like that. Well, and I think that's where you get to really, you have to just love them and just say, you know what? I believe it because I believe it. you're going to believe it because either you believe it, you don't believe it because someone else makes you believe it. God revealed this to me, and as foreign as that sounds, and then you go from there and kind of go into what Jesus has done for him.
There's a different kind of belief. There's a belief that what I call mental assent. In other words, you believe it in your head. I believe that George Washington was the first president of the United States. But living back then, saw George Washington. I don't know anything. I believe it. But that's mental assent. I believe it because history testifies of it. But I didn't wake up this morning and talk to George Washington.
Right.
Now, if I did,
That's a little weird.
It's a little weird. So when I say I believe in Jesus, it's a different kind of belief. It's a belief that says I put my whole weight, my whole trust, my whole life in the fact that Jesus did raise from the dead, and that he said, if I believe in him, I have everlasting life. So I don't know about you. I'm going to go with the guy that raised from the dead.
Yeah, I think that, no one else in history has ever done that.
That's the last time I checked.
And not to mention, he never died to the sense of like, when he left alive. Like he wrote why he died. But he didn't come back and then die. Like he went. So therefore he lived. I'm going with the one that's still alive. The one that died, that then came back to life and then never died after that. That was it. Yeah, I think, to me though, I just think there's just too much there to me, and that's the importance of just knowing history, knowing that historical evidence, because you can't argue that they're eyewitnesses accounts, they're factual events, not made up.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because bottom line, our faith is not just founded in blind faith.
Right.
Our faith has historical, proven fact lying behind it. There are more people that saw Jesus resurrect from the dead and taken into heaven from the Mount of Olives than were present at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So it's not all just blind faith.
No,
It's proven fact. It's proven prophecy fulfillments. I mean, just look at all the prophecies that fulfilled the day that Jesus came in Bethlehem. I mean, so you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Now let me be clear. Jesus did die. I just want to be clear, because I'm just talking about after he rose from the dead, which we've established. He didn't die after that. He's still alive. He ascended to be with God. He's at the right hand of God, and he's coming back. And so he's coming back just as much as alive as we are right now. And that's the thing. And so Darren, we'll be praying for you for that, because that's a tough thing to be. But I would just encourage you to just continue to have those conversations. And if you don't know something, I'm going to teach you something that is the best thing I've ever learned in my life. It's the words, I don't know. And then go back, look at it, talk to us, or talk to any one of the leaders that you even have here, because I know you're still connected with us. But talk to them, and we'll try to work it out the best we can. It is so hard now to try to build to bridge. To form the bridge between this logical, this reason. There's this movement that took place way back in the day, but it's kind of where we've arrived now, but everything has to have a reason. And so, with us, with faith, we don't necessarily reason. There's things that we just see that we can't explain, and we're okay with that.
Right.
But now, so many people have to have that explanation. But here's where I want to encourage you. It is not on you if that person accepts or rejects the gospel or believes or doesn't believe. That's not on you. You're doing the work already as far as talking with her, communicating what you do know, and going back with the things that you had to learn and that you didn't know. So understand that just like whenever God gripped the hold of our hearts, that was something that I didn't do it because some preacher communicated it to me, but God made it real in me. And so God is the ultimate one that's going to bring that to fruition if it's in it. You may not see it, may not ever happen, I don't know, but just keep that in mind, because I think that's where a lot of people, when it comes to evangelism and talking to people, they don't do it because they feel like, well, they didn't accept it, so therefore I must have failed, so I'll never do it again. Well, that's not at all correct.
Absolutely.
A lot of
You know,
people are
there's-
dead in Jesus.
There's all kinds of things. I don't understand everything about electricity. I'm sure there's some people that do, but I don't understand how electricity totally works. I can't explain it. Some people can, but I'm not going to sit in the dark until it can be, until I can understand it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just going to, it's there, it's for me, and I'm going to turn the lights on.
Absolutely. There you go. Well, I think that's a good one to end on right there.
Okay.
Man, y'all have been awesome.
This is fun.
This is fun.
Tell them we may have an idea to.
We might. We're working on some other things that we. I don't want to say it yet because I don't want to.
No,
But
we're
Just be on the lookout. Hopefully,
Right.
we'll see you working on some other cool things. But anyway, hey guys, we love you. We're praying for you. I'm actually gonna we'll pray for you before we get off here. But just remember, no Generate this week, Labor Day. So enjoy. I would encourage y'all, and if any of your parents are watching this, man, spend time together as a family. Look for opportunities to just connect with if your sibling or whatever. That's what we want you to do. Take advantage of not being here, which I know a lot of y'all love being here and stuff like that. But just take advantage of some time with family. Don't just shut yourself in your room and play video games. You do that enough. So just keep that in mind. All right. So I'm gonna pray for us, and then we'll be done. Lord, we thank you for this time. Thank you for these students. I lift up any requests or any troubles that they have going on in their minds. I know Phoebe's asking for special prayer about some things she's got going on at home with a puppy that they're trying to take in and all that kind of stuff. And so, Lord, we just pray that you would be in that situation. Lord, I pray for Darren. I pray specifically for this person that he's trying to reach. Darren has been so faithful in that, even whenever he was here, always looking for ways to share the gospel with people. And so give him strength, give all of our students strength in the context in which they're at to go and tell people about you. If they don't know the answer to the questions, be okay with not knowing it. And that's what we're here for. And that's why we have each other as a church to talk about those things and then go out and try to lead more people to you. So, Lord, we thank you for Pastor Jeff, his leadership here. Continue to be with him as he guides and leads us and just spiritually as a church and as a people. Lord, let us be growing closer to you each and every day. Lord, just continue to be with all of those here at our church and those that are battling COVID and battling other things that are keeping them at home. And Lord, we just pray to see more of our people continue to come back and come and join us for worship. And Lord, help us to even reach more people through the different things that we're doing. And it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys, y'all take it easy.
Thanks, guys.
We love y'all. I got to get up because I have to turn this off. But we'll see y'all next time.